Nellie didn't dare leave her office to watch Beckelheimer go. She didn't want to bait him. This wasn't about payback. Okay, maybe a little bit. But the most important thing was that she should stay in the good graces of the company so she could take them down and help her kiddos. Once things quieted down, Dr. Stevens called her into his office. "Nice work, Dr. Gormy. For helping us weed out dangerous characters, I've decided to promote you to Vice President in charge of biochemical research." "Vice President? Me? I'm honored. Imagine that," she thought. "Me, Nellie Gomez, Nadine Gormy, Vice President of a drug company. Now that's something to brag about at my next high school reunion." "Keep up the good work," Dr. Stevens said. "Thank you, Dr. Stevens. I will." She planned to work harder than ever, just not in the way Dr. Stevens expected her to. Chapter 17. Tikal, Guatemala. They'd spent the whole day searching for Olivia's book, to no avail. Now it was 2:00 in the morning. Everyone else was asleep, but Amy was wide awake and pacing, thinking. 5 days to go. Her thoughts raced in circles, like a dog chasing its tail. The antidote. She needed the antidote. Yet for every pang of guilt she felt looking in Dan's eyes, there was a part of her that hoped she'd never take it. When she wasn't reeling from the side effects of the serum, she felt like she would live forever. Why would she want that feeling to end? No way would anything kill her, much less a few silly drops of liquid. She had a lifetime of accomplishments ahead of her. There were books practically writing themselves in her fingertips, computer programs begging to burst forth from her brain. Her muscles were quivering for a chance to prove themselves in a triathlon or on a trek up Everest. Taking a helicopter up, like she and Dan had done, didn't count. She was itching to do it properly, without oxygen. She stopped short. That didn't make sense. The serum was poison. It was killing her. She'd seen with her own eyes what the serum had done to Ian's mother, Isabel Cabra. She'd felt the tremors. So where were these thoughts coming from? It was as if her own mind were working against her, sabotaging her. Were these her own genuine thoughts, or were they produced by the serum? There was a soft knock on her door. She froze. Should she pretend to be asleep? Before she had time to jump into bed and pull up the covers, Jake opened the door. "Amy, I thought I heard you walking around in here." He let himself in and shut the door. "Did I say you could come in?" she snapped. "I didn't say—" "Shh." He pressed a finger against his lips. "You'll wake the boys." "What do you want? It's the middle of the night." "I know it's the middle of the night. What I want to know is why you're still up. Can't you sleep?" She sighed and sat down on her bed. What was the point of lying to him? He already knew the truth. "No, I haven't slept since I took the serum." His eyes widened. "Amy, I know every second is crucial right now, but you need to rest." "Why? I've got nothing but energy. I've got 5 days to live. Might as well make the most of them," she joked lamely. "Yeah, let's fly to Vegas, take the penthouse suite, bet everything you've got on roulette, and live the high life. One last blast before—" He couldn't finish the joke. The reality was too grim. She tried to keep the banter going. "Teasing me about my imminent demise," she said. "That's sweet of you." He gave a rueful smile. "You know me, Mr. Hearts and Flowers." "Huh, yeah, always the romantic." He reached for the doorknob. "Look, are you going to go to sleep or not? That's all I came in for." "Yes, I'll sleep," she lied. "Don't worry about me." He just looked at her. "Don't say anything to Dan," she added. "About me not sleeping, I mean. I don't want him to worry either." "As if he could help it," Jake said. "I'll say what I want to Dan. I don't take orders from you." A few days ago, his words would have stung, but there was no malice in his tone. "Hey, Jake?" she called as he turned to the door. He twisted back around. Yeah? If something does happen to me, you'll take care of him, right? You're so great with Atticus, and Dan will need someone who... She trailed off as Jake's face grew pale. Never mind. I shouldn't have said anything. Jake pressed his lips together for a moment before he spoke. Of course I will. That goes without saying. But it won't be necessary. We're going to find the ingredients. We'll get you the antidote. He took a step forward, and for a second it looked like he was about to extend his hand, but then his arm fell back to his side. After everything she'd done to him, nothing short of a helicopter crash could induce Jake to touch her. Just get some rest. You'll feel better tomorrow. He left the room and shut the door. She knew he was right. She needed rest. She had to keep herself together. She was the leader. She was in charge. If she fell apart, so would everything else. She woke up in the dark, feeling hot and sweaty. What time was it? She looked around for the glow-in-the-dark clock dial, but couldn't see it. She couldn't see anything. The darkness was so thick she could almost feel it. She could smell its musty odor. She lay back and closed her eyes, hoping this terrible feeling, whatever it was, would go away. Sweat poured off her forehead. Why was she so terribly hot? She sat up in a panic. Fire! It must be fire! She thought of her parents. The fire that had killed them both. Could someone want her to die the same way? Pierce. She jumped out of bed. She had to warn Dan, to save him, to get him out of the burning hotel. She fumbled through the inky darkness, looking for the door. Then she stopped. She heard something. The roar of the fire? No, it was lower, more ominous. A growl. Was someone in the room with her? Frantically, she spun around. "Who's there?" she shouted. No one answered. She froze, listening. Silence. Pierce's men, she thought. They've come to get me. To stop me before I can stop them. Another sound broke the silence. More growling. That sound isn't human, she realized. It's a jaguar. She groped around the room until she found a heavy book. A stick would have been better, but this would have to do. In the corner of the room, she saw it. The red glow of the jaguar's eyes trained right at her. She screamed and threw the book. The eyes merely blinked and inched closer. The jaguar growled soft and low, preparing to pounce. No! Amy screamed. She threw herself at the jaguar, attacking it before it could attack her. She reached for its neck, gripping it with her super-strong hands, shaking its head, hoping to keep its razor-sharp teeth from tearing her to shreds. Then a bright light blinded her, and another creature pounced on her, yanking at her arms, pulling her away from the jaguar. "Stop it! Stop it!" she yelled. "Can't you see it's trying to kill me?" Amy! Amy, let go! Dan was yanking on her arms, trying to pull them off the jaguar's neck. But it wasn't a jaguar. It was Jake. She had her hands around his neck. He towered over her, firmly pushing her away, but she was too strong for him now. He grimaced, his eyes wide with terror. She relaxed her grip and collapsed in his arms. Jake? This was so confusing. What had happened to the jaguar? Jake led her to her bed. She blinked and rubbed her aching head while he gingerly touched his sore neck. Dan sat beside her. "What were you doing, Amy?" Dan asked. "It looked like you were trying to kill him." No. Dan had switched on the light. The darkness was gone. She could see clearly now. There was no jaguar, no fire. She wasn't hot anymore, though she was still drenched in sweat. In fact, in spite of the jungle heat, she was beginning to feel chilled. "Jake, are you all right?" she asked. "Yeah, I'm okay." Jake rubbed his neck and tried to smile, but it was strained. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you."